During November of 2008, Ivy and I flew overnight to Miami and boarded the GTV, which stands for Gas Turbine Vessel Radiance of the Seas, to cruise through the Caribbean, Panama Canal, and along the west coast of South America to Valparaiso. We returned to Los Angeles from Santiago via Lima on another overnight flight. We landed at Miami International Airport and transferred to the ship, which was docked 20 miles away in Port Everglades. Several other cruise liners were docked nearby. The Westerdam moored astern of our ship was the first to leave. She was followed by the Crown Princess. We left 2 hours later after sunset. The next morning at sea we saw yet another cruise liner, the Norwegian Sun. She, along with our own ship and several others, had to alter courses to avoid Hurricane Paloma by rounding Cuba to the west rather than the shorter route to the east. The increased distance to be covered required the ship to increase its speed to maintain schedule, which in turn required a large increase in fuel burn. Our speed was increased to 23 knots from the usual 18. The weather remained pleasant and not too warm. After docking in Cartagena, we went on a tour that included the Castillo de Felipe de Pajares. Numerous attempts were made to storm the fort, though it was never overtaken, and extensive systems of tunnels are connected underground to distribute provisions and facilitate evacuation. The tunnels were constructed in such a way as to make it possible to hear footsteps of an approaching enemy's feet. Some of the tunnels are open today and available to view. The fort protected the city, which in earlier days was situated only on the island. Along the ramparts of the old city is a long building consisting of 23 deep rooms, or dungeons, which originally served as military barracks. The dungeons have been converted into souvenir shops. One way a local makes a dollar is to be a model for the photographers. The entrance door to the Inquisition Palace is purposely large and imposing. During the colonial era, this building served as a tribunal court and tried anyone the church viewed as a heretic. The palace contains instruments of torture, along with documents, paintings, and explanations about the Inquisition.
Right now, we are going to visit one of the torture chambers. This way, please. 4 people, they were taken to the bonfire. The instruments that you are seeing right away in front of you, this is not original instrument or torture chamber. It's a replica. But this is the La Garrucha. That means
we walked across the central plaza dedicated to Bolivar, a revolutionary who helped South American countries gain independence from Spain during the 19th century. Near the plaza is the Church of San Pedro Clava, named for the patron saint of slaves. In 1586, when only the tower remained unfinished, the pirate Francis Drake attacked the city, partially destroying what had been completed. We saw an example of the native dancing. Upon our return to the ship, we had yet another cruise liner docked beside ours. From Cartagena, we sailed to the Panama Canal. Our speed at sea seemed very slow at 9 knots after the 23 knots we had been logging. A frigate bird flew out to greet us as we entered Cologne to pass through the canal. The steaming jungle as we approached the locks unsuccessful French Canal on the left. It's our turn to enter the lock. We stair-stepped our way up 85 feet to Gatun Lake. It rained hard for 20 minutes as we left the top lock. The facility grounds are much more kept than they were when we last went through in 1980. Watching the scenery go by. The effort still needed to keep the landslides from blocking the canal. Some of the canal still has steep embankments. We passed under the new Centennial Bridge before entering the locks on the Pacific side. The old observation platform has now been replaced by a much larger building. Panama's Ciudad del Saber, or City of Knowledge, is a government-sponsored project which seeks to create a cluster of academic organizations, technology companies, and non-governmental organizations. The flags are flying to celebrate the independence of South American countries from Spain. It is located just across from the Miraflores Locks in what used to be the United States Army South Headquarters, Fort Clayton. On the Pacific side, we pass under the Bridge of the Americas.